Zap, whiz, pow! No, it's not a Batman comic. It's Godzilla! Quick, he's destroying half the city. Someone died.
Hold up. Think about it. Let him do his thing.
Yeah, think about it. With half the city destroyed and the infrastructure to design, there's more jobs for us.
Well, today my group is going to be presenting a chemical engineer, civil engineer, computer science, and computer engineer.
We will be going over education and skills, work areas, and work opportunities for each major. I'm going to throw it over to Gabriel. Start up. Sorry.
A chemical engineer, we're going to begin with the education. So according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, a chemical engineer requires a minimum of a bachelor's degree so they can enter the work field. With this being said, you also require a certain amount of skills. Skills such as listed on eureka.org, a trusted website by PCC campus. You need eye-hand coordination, analysis and judgment, and great writing skills. You need the eye-hand coordination because you will be working with a whole bunch of tools and chemicals. So if you don't have eye-hand coordination, think of the dangers that you can cause. You need analysis and judgment so you can see and judge things on how they work and see if you can fix it before there's a problem or an issue at hand. You need the writing skills because there will be times where you would have to write papers and other things that you would have to write so you can get funding for your certain experiments. And that's how you're going to make it all go down with those three skills. Of course, when it comes to this major, you should always aim higher when it comes to education-wise, only because the higher you go, the more money you can make, and of course, everyone's in it for the money. So that's my part. I'm going to shoot you on to Luis, our civil engineer.
Thank you, Gabriel. As a civil engineer, you need a minimum of a bachelor's degree as well. You're going to be taking a lot of math classes because that's technically what you deal with the whole time. As a civil engineer, you also require specific skills, including number skills, knowing your numbers and not making mistakes and measurements and stuff. Tools, you have to be really careful with tools because the tools that we work with are really dangerous and can cause serious problems in people's lives if they don't know how to use them. Good eye-hand coordination because the measurements have to be precise and they can't be wrong or else your whole structure is going to be messed up. And you have to know how to direct activities in your work field because if you don't know how to do it, then your workers won't listen to you and you won't get your project done. And if you do it wrong, then a lot of people are going to hate you because you come out to be really strict and stuff. I'm going to throw over to Jose, which is not here, so I'll throw it over to David for computer science.
Thanks, Luis. So, jobs in the computer science field will require a computer science degree. It's a 4-year degree that invests a lot of time in math and programming. So you're going to go through all levels of calculus. You're going to learn how to program C, C++, Java, Python. It's going to be a lot of hours in front of a computer. The programming classes alone are 18 units for just the AA that we're working on here at PCC. Aside from the units for the degree, you also need to have, problem-solving skills. A lot of people have mentioned problem-solving skills, but the difference in computer science, the way you have to look at things, everything is a puzzle. You have to figure out what exactly the problem is, and then you have to figure out how to fix it. And you have to make sure that the way that you fix it, you're always getting the desired output, right? So everything is input-output, just like a function in math. Whatever you put in has to every time give you the same answer, the same output. It takes up a lot of time, right? You're running through every basically level of math up until calculus, and then depending on how many more units you still need, you could go into the more advanced classes of like theoretical algebra and stuff like that. The programming alone, just so many hours that you end up filling in front of a computer. In the introductory to computer science class, right? We did 8 programs? It was just 8 projects, and we did a total of, I think, what was it? Something like 40 hours of programming. So yeah, for a full class, it would take quite a bit of time. So from here, we're going to move on to work environment and work areas. So I'll pass it over to Gabriel.
Thank you, David. So back to a chemical engineer, our work environment and area in which we work. So according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, chemical engineers are more found in offices, laboratories, and refineries. We work in all three of these environments. So in the office, we would most likely be writing or typing down like research papers or papers in general to get funding. In a laboratory, we would be trying out our experiments, trial and error, playing with chemicals, having that fun life. And at refineries, of course, we would be at work making chemicals for whatever the refinery is for. We also, according to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, chemical engineers also tend to travel a lot. We travel abroad or in-state. So we can one day be here in the U.S. and then the next month or so, we can be in China working at Fukushima. So this work environment tends to shift around a lot, so you just have to be good at adapting. When it comes to this work area, we have to get familiar with the people who we work with, and a chemical engineer at a power plant would have to work with technicians and mechanics. So we would have to get along with them to the point where we would get along just as fine so we can work together and not have any issues to make sure that everything is running smoothly. That's pretty much all the work environment we have for a chemical engineer. So I'm going to pass it on to Luis on civil engineering.
Thank you, Gabriel. For a civil engineering, the work environment is always different. The environment is always entertaining because you're not always in the same place. You can be inside of an office at one point and then be outside handling tools and on top of a 20-story building more onto it. It's never the same, and you're always traveling as well. It's not just like here in the state. You can travel everywhere around the world so long as, depending on how well you are known and how well your team is known. You have to get really familiar with the people you work with also, because they will be with you for as long as your career is up, because they're the ones doing all the construction and heavy lifting while you're just ordering them what to do. Most of the time it's outdoors because you're always supervising on what your employees are doing, and if they don't know how to do something, then you're teaching them, and yeah, you're just supervising most of the time. I'm gonna throw it over to Jose, which is not here again. So I'm gonna throw it over to David to computer science.
Thanks, Luis. So the field of computer science has 2 major work areas, 2 very prominent work areas. There's office work. So in an office, typically the computer science field employs programmers. So they'll be hacking away at keyboards, spitting out code. You've also got tech support, right? A lot of office buildings with all of their computers have their own on-site tech support. So yeah, you've got programmers, tech support that's built into the office, but office work has kind of changed the way you think about office work now with the new wave of tech companies like Google, Yahoo. I mean, Yahoo's an older company, but they've bought into the new mantra of basically making the workplace fun. So yeah, you're still going to spend 10 hours a day working in front of a computer writing programs if you're a programmer, but it's no longer going to be tedious work all day long. Like I said, this new wave of tech companies, they've got gyms, they've got sleeping pods. Like anyone who's seen the Google infomercial the internship can attest to. It's actually a pretty fun place to work at now. They give you cars that you can rent or that can drive you around on their own. They loan bicycles out. You know, it's a very healthy place, which is not something that you used to think of when you thought of computer science and office work, right? The other major work area is field work. The field technician, depending on the job that he has, where he works, could either be working at people's homes, right? So like on-site tech support, or they can work out in the field of, you know, like with JPL, right? Or in robotics. Not necessarily tech support, but you are working on computers and you're working on them on location for bigger companies that would require technical help. Now, computer science is a very, very, like I said, program and math heavy degree, but it's also the new standard for many break-fix, hands-on tech work. So, you know, all the good jobs at big names like Best Buy or Office Depot, they'll require computer science degrees for supervisor or, you know, higher up positions. So with that, we're going to go ahead and move on to work opportunities. So Gabriel?
Thank you, David. As a chemical engineer, we will always have work. We make your soap, we make your cleaning detergents, we make your energy that you use for your cities. So basically, we will almost never run out of jobs. According to Eureka, there's an estimated growth, eureka.org, a trusted website by PCC. Job growth is expected from 11.3% to 21.3%. So that shows that there will be a growth in my field. So that's a plus for me. I'm going to be making money. I'm going to make it rain. So that being said, the downside of that is that chemical engineers, the work outlook is 4% slower than average jobs. So it's just going to be a little bit more tough for me to find a job. But that's really nothing because, trust me, we make the bank. I'm going to pass it on to Luis, our civil engineer, and there you go.
Thank you, Gabriel. The work opportunities for a civil engineer is really high because we're always building things as humans, and as humans we're repopulating all the time, and so we need more places to live as we grow in size. So according to the University of Utah, they state that the civil engineering outlook will grow more and more. Will grow more and more as in these 2 years, from 2014 to 2016. It's going to grow and grow, and it won't stop. So for me, there's going to be a lot of opportunity for me to get a job in the field that I choose, which is civil engineering. And yeah, so the opportunity is great. I'm going to pass it over to Jose, which is, again, not here. So I'm throw it over to David and computer science.
Thanks, Luis. So computer science has many technological applications, from robotics to video game development. There are a plethora of jobs that involve all of the newest technologies and would employ computer science majors. Right? According to the University of Massachusetts, 10% of all new jobs are in the technology field. The technology field would again be the major focal point for computer science degrees. Eureka.org states that computer specialists, right, would earn starting salaries of $48,000 per year. And then the other two jobs, which I'll go over, computer systems administrators and programmers, their salaries start at $80,000 per year. The three jobs that I'll speak of specifically would be computer support specialists, the systems administrators, and the programmers. The computer specialists are tech support, right? So they're the guys that you call when you need help with your computer and they ask you if you've tried turning it off and then on again. Systems administrators are the guys who work in really big tech companies, or not tech companies rather, but in big companies that employ the use of a lot of computers. Systems administrators are in charge of keeping an eye on all the computers, making sure that they're running smoothly, and whenever anything new comes out, they look and they investigate the new products to see if they would work or help out with the company. The programmers, out of all of them, the programmers are the seediest of the bunch. They are the guys who sit away or sit in front of a computer in a dark corner somewhere, and all they do is they type. And so they've got these like really thick glasses and stuff, right? That's what most people think about when they think of computer programmers. But if you still have that stigma stuck in your head, you may not have been paying attention lately to the newest computer problems that the world is facing. Things like Heartbleed and groups like Anonymous, right? Those are hackers. And if you have heard of hackers and things like this, you maybe only know of black hat hackers. But what you may not know is that there are also white hat hackers. And so I'll distinguish between the two, which would be employing their education in computer science. Black hat hackers are basically the nefarious bunch, right? They're the ones who are trying to hack into your computer. They're trying to steal your information. They're trying to run up purchases on your credit card. They're not very nice guys. But they do know a lot of programming. They know how to infiltrate, and if they decided to do some good with it, they could become white hat hackers. Google every year runs a Chrome conference, and if you're not familiar, Google makes the Chrome web browser, which is probably the safest and the most secure. And the reason why it's the safest and the most secure is because every year they have $100,000 purses for a competition where basically all hackers have to do is find a security flaw in the Chrome browser and then fix it. It's not enough to just know what it is and be able to exploit it. You have to be able to fix it, because that would mean that you're really good at what you're doing. And like I said, every year the winner of the conference can earn up to $100,000 a year. They started this in 2007, I think. And since then, they've given out over $1.25 million in awards for the conference that they run every year. Again, in conclusion, we've gone over the jobs of civil engineer, chemical engineer, and we were supposed to go over computer engineer and computer science. We've gone over our education and skills, our
work environment, and our work area.
And work opportunities for each major.
So, as a lasting thought, as you walk out of class today, right, and you pull your phone out to check Facebook or to check the latest scores, remember, the the chemical engineer developed the processes for all of the materials that are inside your device. The computer engineers designed and tested the circuitry and PCBs that make them work. The civil engineers designed and laid down the satellites and cell towers that connect us all to each other. And the computer scientists are the ones who wrote the programs that make everything look so damn pretty, or at least keep you entertained playing Candy Crush while you're waiting for your next class. Thank you.